When I mention the Australian independent animation studio Glitch, what show do you think about? Probably The Amazing Digital Circus or Murder Drones? Maybe The Gaslight District or Knights of Guinevere? That makes sense, those are by far their most popular shows. But Glitch didn't start off with Murder Drones, and I'm not talking about SMG4, I'm talking Metarunner and Sunset Paradise. The first two shows Glitch made are almost never talked about. Hell, the most viewed episode of either of these has less views than a Digital Circus merch ad from a month ago. But I'm gonna change that for myself. Today, I'm going to be taking a look back at Glitch's first show, Metarunner. I was also going to do the same for Sunset Paradise, but I ended up not really having that much to say about it. It's good, I like it. I probably like it more than Metarunner. I just have far more to say about this show. I'm going to start off by avoiding spoilers, but we'll eventually get into spoiler talk later, with a warning of course. So, what is Metarunner? Created by the same brothers that made SMG4 and Glitch itself, Kevin and Luke Ludwichigal, Metarunner is set in a world where video games are everything, to the point where people have their limbs replaced with robotic ones to make them even better at games. These are the titular Metarunners, who are basically like super esports stars. The story is about Tari, a girl with one of these Metarunner arms, but she's got way more abilities than the regular Metarunners, mainly the ability to transport her consciousness into the game she plays, and also she has no memory of her past. Metarunner is pretty good. There's a lot I like about it, but it's also heavily flawed. First off, the animation is kinda rough, at least in the first two seasons. The characters don't move very naturally. They move around just way too much. There is a character who's meant to have a very erratic personality, so for him I think it works well. But for everyone else, yeah, no, it just looks off. But for the first show by an independent studio, I don't think I can outright call it bad, especially since it does improve quite a bit by season 3. There's also some pretty well choreographed action. It's not Murder Drones tier action, but still pretty decent. And speaking of Murder Drones, despite me liking that show more, one thing Metarunner definitely does better than that is having an actual coherent plot. It's pretty simple, but it was nice that I could actually understand what was going on and it was never stupidly vague. My only issue with the plot is that there's a mystery that was set up early on, but it took me a while to realize it was even supposed to be a mystery. The answer felt extremely obvious, and it turned out what I immediately thought had happened was extremely close to what actually did happen. I'm really trying to not come off as super negative because I genuinely like this show. I just have more to say about its negative aspects. While with the good aspects, it's just like, yeah, I like the characters. They're pretty cool. And the cast is very good. It was kind of refreshing to hear a mostly Australian cast for a change. I'd say the standout cast members were Celeste Notley-Smith as Tari. Her voice definitely helped a lot of the emotional moments hit hard despite the issues with the animation. Elsie Lovelock probably gives the best performance of the show. Even though Uzi is absolutely my favorite character voiced by her, this is my favorite performance I've heard from her. I think Evelyn could have been an incredibly annoying character, which, yeah, she's meant to be annoying to the other characters, but due to her voice, she's actually very entertaining. And the third cast member I really loved was Kevin Ludwichigal himself as the Bot Boys. These guys are so charming and funny. They kind of reminded me of Lobo from Ninjago Dragons Rising. Silly little robot dudes with one eye and are always funny. Okay, I'm gonna get into spoiler territory now, so click off if you haven't seen the show. Alright, let's go. First off, the twist I mentioned before that felt really obvious. Yeah, as the footage I was playing implied, it was the whole thing about Tari coming from Lucinia. The way that scene of Belle finding Sheridan's lab played out, I thought it was just saying that Tari was Lucinia. I think this twist would have worked better if we simply got more of Lucinia, because we barely get to see her actually as herself before the finale. There's like 2 short flashbacks, and everything else about her is just told to us. Lucinia is barely even a character, and as a result, I never really cared about her. I only really cared about how her status affected the other characters, like Sophia, Marsa, and Belle, because they were actual characters that I grew attached to. Meanwhile, Lucinia is a plot point. Okay, I really need to be more positive. Marsa was a great character, especially at the start of season 3. I love how they show his trauma from killing Lux. It's such an interesting concept. He hated Lux for very justifiable reasons. He had every right to want him dead. But even though he probably would have shot him if the rest of MD5 weren't there, he still made the conscious decision to put the gun down. And to have your body forced against your will to kill another person is just so fucked up. No matter how much you hate them. And then it's all made worse by him being trapped with the man who made him do it. A man who was also tormenting him with the face of the man he both hated and killed. I was shocked that they actually showed Lux's cold, dead body with a bloody bullet hole in his head. The scene of him getting shot was pretty tame, so seeing this imagery flashing in Master's mind really messed with my mind, which made Master's struggles feel so much more real. However, as soon as Sheridan takes control of him and Belle, all that just goes away, which is just kinda lame. Okay, one more thing I want to criticize. I found Theo's fake out death really dumb. Like, it was the most obvious fake out death ever, so I never believed it for a second that he was gone. And I was just waiting for him to show up again. Okay, complaining over. Theo is really fun. I'm a big fan of duos of female protagonists and her younger, silly male best friend. Unlike the fake out in season 3, the one from season 1 did really break me. I could still tell he wasn't dead forever, but we actually have Tari and the others in the scene to react, so I'm still able to feel that emotion from them reacting to it. I'd grown so fond of him over the season. I think part of why I really liked him is that his game kind of reminded me of Astrobot, mainly the beach and jungle style levels. And that game is just so fun. Theo even kind of reminds me of Astro in terms of personality, so all in all, Theo is great. Meta Runner is really fun. I do think it would rank at the bottom of my glitch show ranking, at least for now, since the Gaslight District and Knights of Guinevere only have a single episode, but being the weakest of an amazing studio is really good. Meta Runner, the Agent Washington of glitch. Well, that's all I really got to say for now, so like and subscribe to make me smile, and I will see you later.